Hi. All right, Nurse Tough Love hilarious story of the day. So the Thursday before last, I was getting up and doing my normal routine, and the first thing I always do is I take all three of my dogs out. The mornings are always hard with me because of my lupus. I am extra stiff. My joints are extra stiff in the morning, and I am extremely dizzy. My vertigo is like a 10 out of 10. My husband always used to take the dogs out because my biggest dog is a Pit Lab mix. His name is Baxter, and he's super sweet, but can and will pull me down. So anyway, Thursday before last, I take him out in my leopard pajama pants with my Kiss My Pancreas shirt to raise awareness for pancreatic cancer while I take my dogs out. So I make it down the stairs, and I almost fell down the stairs because that's how just unsteady I was. All of a sudden, this lady is walking by with her two dogs, and Baxter literally pulls me down. I fall face first into the dirt. I didn't want to let go of his leash because I was afraid that he would jump on the lady and scare her. I knew all he would do would be try to play with them, but still I didn't want them to be scared. So I held on to the leash, and he literally dragged me across my whole yard. Anyway. So I finally had to let him go because I was bleeding. I had cuts all over me. It was ridiculous. It took me a solid minute to get up because I was so sore. So I go and I get him, and I get his leash, and I had to literally sit my ass down and plow my heels into the ground to keep him from trying to jump on them. And the lady was trying to talk to me, but I couldn't hear her because the dogs were barking. And I was like, no, it's fine. Just go. I'm crying. I'm like, usually my husband takes them out, but he let me. It was ridiculous. Ooh. Okay, so I come in and I'm just sobbing. And my son's therapist got here immediately after it happened, and she's like, oh my God, what the fuck? And I could barely walk. My right hip, I was convinced that I had broken it. So she's asking what she can do, and I'm like, nothing, I'm fine, it's fine. And then she's like, you have a really big hole in your leopard PJ pants. I was like, oh my God, let me go change my clothes. So she wasn't lying. It was a huge hole. She could basically see my asshole. Yeah. Luckily, we're close, so it wasn't really a big deal. But I ended up going to the hospital because, like I said, I was convinced that I broke my right hip. It was just severely contused with contused right ribs and a right pulled latissimus dorsi. My husband had to come over and stay for 2 days because I could barely move. But here's the best part. Before I went to the hospital, the lady who was walking her dogs came over and gave me her phone number. She offered to walk my dogs. She's a physical therapist, and she noticed the abnormality in my gait. All of this is to say is that as embarrassed as I was, it was so fulfilling to know that there are still good people